The offense last week looked a lot more efficient than in week one. Is that what you expect to see from the team from week to week?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we talked about being better in week 2 than we were in week 1. We expect the same thing going forward through the season. And again, the players did a great job executing the game plan. Trevor did a great job really executing what we were trying to do. The receivers were all on the same page with it. So it was really a great job by the players just going out and executing the game plan and sticking to it. And they were the ones that kept us efficient in those situations.
I wanted to ask about Jawan Taylor. I saw a crazy stat. It was something like he's the only tackle who hasn't allowed a pressure. Just after the training camp he had and the injuries and then, winning the battle, how has his play been through these first 2 weeks?
Yeah, he's done a great job. And I think that goes back to even the spring of there was real competition for that job. And I think it made everybody better. Not only Jawan, but Cam, Walker Little, everybody that we have expectation that could potentially play on somebody had to rise to the level of competition there. And so I think those guys all did a great job of pushing one another. And, you've seen Jawan's work throughout that spring and has continued to kind of show itself so far in game day. And, again, we expect consistent improvement out of all these guys as we go into the season.
One more. Big week for them with Bosa on one side, Mac on the other. Just what are you guys expecting out of those guys?
Yeah, we expect, really when you come up against 2 great edge players like this, or really any defensive line or significant defensive player, it's kind of a situation where it's going to take everybody. And that's going to take from the way we install the plan to the way we execute the plan to the tight ends helping, the receivers helping, the running backs helping, the tackles obviously winning their matchups, and then the quarterback being on time in rhythm. So all of it kind of goes together to try to contain dynamic edge players like they have.
When you look at the Chargers defense, everybody talks about Bosa and Mack and Derwin James as well. What are you seeing from this Chargers defense? It just seems like, at least so far, with small sample size, they're doing a much better job of containing the run. They were very poor against the run last year. What are you seeing from this defense beyond the fact that they got 2 really good edge rushers?
Yeah, there's a lot of variety in the coverages they play. The presentation they present to the defense up until the ball snapped, and then the way things kind of manifest themselves based on what you're running. Really, it evolves as the down goes on a lot of times. So it's kind of tough to get a beat on what they're doing. Who's the force player? Who's the support player? Where's he coming from? So they've done a good job of it. They make the game difficult as an offense to identify things and communicate. And that's one of the biggest tests is we got to get 11 guys on the same page to execute whatever assignment's called at the time.
I mean, every week to some extent is a chess match.
Certainly, yeah.
Is it even more so this week with the way that the Chargers have designed this particular defense?
I mean, again, like you said, every week's a chess match. So I don't know if I'd compare one to another in terms of, we put in the same amount of preparation. Our players do the same of studying our opponent, our game plan, how our plan of attack goes. So I don't know that I'd compare it to any other one, but it's certainly a great challenge for our offense.
Coach, if you got Dylan's job and you got to fill out the depth chart for the media, what position do you put Derwin James at?
Defense.
What do you say?
You just say defense. That's it. Just defense.
Yeah,
he could line up as an edge player. He could be a linebacker, a safety, a nickel. He can do everything. He's kind of one of those chess pieces that they have, and you're seeing more and more guys like that come into the league that have that versatility, and that's something as an offensive coach we want with our guys. We want guys that can line up all over the field and do a lot of different things, and that's always a valuable piece to have, regardless of your offense or defense.
So FP football player.
Yeah,
right?
you can go ahead and put football player there. Yeah.
How much progress did you see from Trevor Lawrence from week 1 to week 2?
I think he's right on schedule, just continuing to grow week to week. I think that's the fun part of this league is the plan of attack each week may have to change, and that's one of the things we talk about being fluid as an offense and doing whatever it takes to put us in a situation to win that week. The Colts defense was very different than the Commanders defense. That's different than the Chargers defense. So it's kind of on all of us as a group to get together, learn as much as we can about that opponent, study what we think, and then put together a plan of attack and communicate that to the players, them buy in, get on the same page, be able to execute it through the week, and then feel good going into Sunday. I think you saw that out of Trevor. He played with a lot of confidence. I feel like he was prepared and confident, and the plan of attack and what we were trying to get done, trusted the guys around him, and had a good showing for it.
How much did Luke and Ben improve from 1 to 2, week 1 to week 2?
Again, kind of the same thing. I think everybody took that step that you expect as you go into a season. October is going to be better than it was in September for everybody as a unit. You hope you're continuing to take those steps as an offense. So obviously they're young players, and I thought they showed the improvement that you'd like to see from week 1 to week 2. But again, now it just keeps going. We need them to keep getting better. We need everybody as a unit to keep getting better.
The fourth down aggressiveness, and just from your perspective, how much confidence does that kind of give a unit when they get one, like the first one to Zay the other day?
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think not even just our unit, but our defense as well. And a lot of that comes from the confidence that coach has in the offense, but also the defense. Like, they understand if we don't get this, the ball's right there. We got to go out and get a stop. And they've done a great job with that. But that all kind of starts with Doug's communication of his philosophy in those situations. So the entire team is on board with that. We're not just going to go rogue and put them in a bad situation that we don't feel like they could respond in if the worst case scenario happened. So those guys all kind of have a belief, and then as you convert some of those and it turns into longer drives, ends in a touchdown, then you just kind of see that build within the guys. Now the expectation is, it's third down, we're ready, we've got 2 downs. Regardless of where we are, what the situation is, they have that expectation.
Doug talked about it some yesterday. How important is it to not be too emotional when you make those decisions and kind of look at what maybe the data might say?
Yeah, you always want to take in as much information as you can, and then make the best decision in that moment. That decision may be different than it was an hour before the game as we talk through it, or in the first quarter, the fourth quarter. All those things got to change. So he's kind of always doing a good job of taking in as much information as he can, how the flow of the game's going, what we thought going in, how it's playing out, to put our team in the best position. He's done a good job of that so far.
Have you seen the same focus level from the guys this week after a win as you did last week after a loss?
Yeah, I believe so. We challenge them every day to just have the best day right there. Like what we're doing today, we want to have the best Thursday practice we've had all year. And then tomorrow we want to have the best Friday. And then we believe that process of just focusing on where we are right now, what we're trying to get accomplished today, will lead us to play with confidence on Sunday and be able to put our best foot forward.
Most coaches don't really want to have to win shootout type games because, number one, it means your defense is not playing very well.
Okay.
But do you feel like this team finally has the weaponry where if they had to, they could?
Yeah, I think as a unit we believe that in ourselves, that if we need to go out and win a slugfest, we could do that, just if that's the game that's being dictated. If we need to go win a shootout, we feel like we could do that. And that's just kind of the belief system that the guys have. Also understanding, just as a philosophy, that's kind of what we believe. We need to be able to do whatever it takes to win a game. And sometimes that's a plan you put together on Monday and it sees itself play out through the week, or it's something that just happened on Sunday. All of a sudden, so-and-so goes down, they got a hot hand, they're doing whatever we need to do, what we need to do to win the game. So we certainly feel like we have the players, the system, capable of doing that if need be at any point in time.
Anything else?
You guys are easy.
Hey, what's up? How we doing?
Pretty good. How about the Maces?
How about them? Congratulations to them. That's huge.
What got you into WNBA and made you an Aces fan?
I'm from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and my niece played at University of Tennessee with Pat Summitt, and I have 2 daughters, and they're both college basketball players playing at the University of Pennsylvania. So women's basketball has been in the family forever, and it's just something that we do. It was I think I was on a run of 7 women's Final Fours. Yeah, never been to a men's, but been to 7 women by choice. By choice, so that's it. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, your interior guys on defense, starting with Devon going out, what contribution did they make the other day in the push that might have created opportunities for the sacks and the turnovers?
It's always good to have push up the middle, and you need that for edge rushers because if not, the quarterback will step up. And those guys, him and Foley, they do a good job of pushing the pocket and being able to walk the guards back and not let the quarterback step up so the edge rushers can get around the edge.
And then Adam and Roy look like,
they're
probably the best games they've been in this uniform.
It was a pleasure to see those guys play because they come in and they don't get a lot of credit for what they do, but they're consistent and they're players that can make an impact on the game. Those guys did a great job doing it.
I know you're kind of on to the next, but this is our first time talking with you since you called a shutout. How did it feel? Your second game calling plays as a defensive coordinator, defense goes out there and gets a shutout. Got to feel pretty good.
Oh, it feels good, but the main thing was getting a win. That was big on our part. We needed a win, and the guys went in, bought into it. the process last week was exceptional. They went through it, understood the game plan, went out there and executed, and, you know, the win was most important.
And Cisco told us the defensive guys gave you a game ball.
Yeah, that was unexpected, and it was really, you know, we have this 24-hour rule, and it happened on, I think it was Tuesday, so it was a little bit late, but I'll accept it and on to the next one.
Mike, are you especially proud of the fact that, you know, in the fourth quarter, the offense had 3 3-and-outs, and the defense was on the field for a long time in the fourth quarter, still kept them out of the end zone when they went down there a few times. So, you know, I don't want to – a shutout's a shutout, right? And a win's a win, but, you know, do you take special pride in that, the way you guys played in the fourth quarter?
Really, anytime we go out there, our job is to stop them. So it really doesn't matter what happens. Like, I was sitting there, I was talking to press, I was like, what you did in the first quarter, we had like one drive in the first quarter. They controlled the clock, and we stayed on the sideline for the whole first quarter. So it's give and take. It's a team game, so sometimes they're going to need us to pick them up, and they'll pick us up at times.
Staley is playing his cards pretty close to the vest on whether Justin Herbert will play this week. That being said, have you invested any time watching a little bit of whatever tape there is out there on Chase Daniel?
You always prepare for any situation. As coaches, that's what you do. You go back, you watch film, but just talking about it, he finished the game last week. They've had 10 days, so we're expecting Herbert to play.
How much of a challenge can this Chargers offense be with Herbert and some of the weapons that they have?
Big challenge because it's outside, they're big, nice tight end, running back, offensive line. Then they got the signal caller that's controlling and running everything. So it'll be a big challenge for us.
As a unit, you guys have 5 interceptions this season. On Monday, Cisco talked about how there's a little friendly competition going in the secondary now, and Tyson also said that that's the type of competition you want. Just knowing that the defense can take away and get those takeaways, just what kind of has been the emphasis? What has sparked that for those guys?
I think we talk about it as coaches, and they talk about it as players. They have the competition going now. So anytime with an athlete, you want to get something out of them, just add competition to it. So that's what we do, and you always want to be best at it. So if my boy next to me is talking that he has 3 and I only have 2, well, I'm going to study a little more. I'm going to make sure I get to catch him. But competition fuels what we do.
What did you see from Devin Lloyd? Did you see a lot of growth from week 1 to week 2 from him?
I saw the progress. I think the game slowed down for him a little. He was able to make the plays that he was supposed to make, then make a couple that he wasn't. So it's always good to have him just continue to progress. He'll be a good player in this league. And right now we just want him to develop and play within his own framework and his own timetable, and we're happy where he's at.
Did you see similar for Trayvon this week? Things kind of slowed down for him and him being kind of more consistent snap to snap?
You can see that with Trayvon up front. It's a lot of things that go unnoticed as far as how he squeezes a gap off and helps someone else just by his pure physicalness. That's unseen by the neck. With him out there, it's a big advantage for our defense.
Is it rare for a guy this young to kind of be creating for others like that?
It really is, because normally the game, you have to develop into the game. Your body has to develop. He's already at that level where he can physically withstand what he needs to withstand and, help out others.
Mike, last year, 3 guys who I guess you would kind of consider career backups, Teddy Bridgewater, Tyrod Taylor, Geno Smith, had good games against the Jaguars. When you're possibly facing a guy like this, do people kind of forget that a guy like Chase Daniel, he's been in the league a long time, he's been in meetings, he's gotten reps against his ones, and the knowledge that, that they have soaked up, when they have to go on the field, they're still NFL quarterbacks, aren't they? And they're still capable.
Oh, definitely. Anytime you're an NFL quarterback with the weapons that they have, you're going to have a chance to be successful. And he's made all the throws in his career. He's seen all the reads. So if he has to play, I'm more than sure he's capable of being able to go out there and be successful for him. We just have to understand that and have our game plan to go out and execute and stop it.
Do you see this matchup with the Chargers as a measuring stick for the defense a little bit? Just the caliber, team and offense they have?
The thing about it, the team, whoever we play on Sunday is whoever we play. There's really no, in the NFL, all the teams are good. We're a good team. We believe we're a good team. So every team you face, you have to be at your best. And no matter who you're playing, you got to be ready to go.
I know we asked you about the growth of some of the rookies. Andre Sisco didn't get a whole lot of playing time as a rookie, so this is really his kind of first chances to get that's in that starting group. How much growth have you seen from him over the first couple of weeks of the season?
I think him being back in the secondary, making the calls and communicating, that's huge for our defense. Everybody has to be on the same page, and he does a good job of understanding what we want from him and relaying that information to other guys. And then he's making plays on the field, so that's a bonus.
All good?
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Go Aces!
Point, this early season, do special teams coaches generally get set on the lineups you have for the kickoff and punt, coverage teams, and is there a whole lot of tweaking,
Yeah, I
barring
think there
injury
is.
at a certain point?
I mean, I think obviously injuries, that plays a big part in it. Obviously, let's say a starter, is not quite healthy enough. First thing to go is one of my special teams guys, so that's a big part of it. But you're always trying to find, a way to get better. Is it a personnel change? Is it a position change that I can switch a guy out, and change positions to help us cover better or block better, whatever it is? We're always looking for that. So I'm always looking for that. Is there a possibility to do that? So yes, it happens all the time. We like to get in a good rhythm of it, the guy that's playing next to him. So that's part of it too. But yeah, we're always looking for an opportunity. If a guy's doing it well in practice, what does that look like in game days?
And how often does a coordinator come in and say, you know what, you can't have that guy anymore because I'm going to play him more, and maybe breaks your heart a little bit?
Yeah, that happens all the time, and that's part of the game. And it's I guess I'm in full support of that. If it's going to help our team win, we're in. If that means let's say Ags, if all of a sudden he's playing a bunch of receiver, great. Let's put the best players on the field. Let's win. If I have to pull a guy off a little bit, it's part of the deal. It's we'll find somebody else that can do that job. That's how it works with special teams. The first to go is pluck a good special teamer from us.
How important can those warm-up kicks before the game where Riley goes out there, starts getting his sight lines and bearings on a different field be?
I think they're big because they're getting feel of the wind. What does it look like? What is the goalpost? What is their targets like? At home a little bit different because we kick here so much, but on the road it's a little bit different. With that being said, I've seen kickers, have a terrible warm up and go 4 for 4, 5 for 5. So it's not everything, but I think it is valuable to get see some go through the post and to get a good feel for that and just target lines and all that.
What kind of game did Chad Newman have for you guys the other day? I think he had 3 tackles.
Yeah, Chad played unbelievable. Obviously, you guys saw the tackles, but it was the physicality, I think, that was impressive of just getting off blocks, running his feet, just physical play. That was something we emphasized those guys last week that was a really good group. I mean, that's one of the best groups in the last few years, and they were physical and fast. And I kind of challenged our guys, let's play just as fast as them or match that. And our guys battled. They played hard, and he was a big part of it. Was played physical, played fast. So he played unbelievable. Yeah, that's impressive.
Is it maybe rare to see that happen from a guy in second NFL game?
Yeah, but a guy like that, he's been a guy that since we got him here, I'd say even before the draft, we were really interested and we loved what we saw on tape. He had played a bunch of special teams, so he was a guy we targeted, as far as not only playing linebacker, but we loved him for special teams as well. And early in training camp, we saw the signs of this guy's gonna be a really good special teamer, and he's a guy that at some point we're gonna lose him because he's too good a player to not have him on the field on defense.
How unusual is it for teams to keep a kicker on the practice squad?
I think in the last couple of years it's become more normal. With COVID and all this stuff goes on, you're always trying to keep an extra guy. And when they expanded the practice squad, roster, you have that extra guy. It seems where you don't want to have the other side where you don't have a guy and all of a sudden something happens on a Friday or Saturday and you're out of luck. So that's something. It's a good thing to have him. James has done fantastic. And so we're happy to have him here.
Does it in any way in your mind send a subtle message to your starting kicker?
I mean, I think with all our guys it's that way. those practice squad, it's not like it used to be where it was just rookies and young guys. We have veteran guys on that spot, and they're hungry. I mean, I got guys coming to my office all the time that are on that practice squad saying, well, what's it going to take to get me out there? So those guys, it really keeps the competitive side with our 53-man roster, because the guy on those the practice squad rosters are so good.
How often does that happen? Is this like once a week?
Oh,
Five
players come in and
yeah, a guy who's on the practice squad comes
it
in.
happens all the time. I get it multiple times a week. Some more than others, but that's something. They're hungry. They want to play. They saw the excitement. They want to get out there and they believe in themselves, and that's part of it. And they want to know, what is it going to take? What do I have to work on? So it's all for the right reasons. But I think that's the great thing, is they're competitive. They want to be out there. They want to help us win. So I love it. I work with just as many of the practice squad guys as I do our regular guys, because they come in, they wanted me to evaluate their practice squad reps, their practice in the white hats.
So do you anticipate at some point this season you might have some tough decisions to make as to whether to elevate? Let's say this, it's not for injury-related reasons, but just for performance-related reasons.
Yeah, and I think that no question, because they're all coming along. Some of those young rookies are really coming along really nicely, but it's more than that. At some point, we'll need them as well. With injuries, all of a sudden, guess what? You're up. You're starting on punt team. Has he protected a punt? Can you feel comfortable him doing it? The last thing I want to do is elevate a guy from practice squad, whether it's injury or because he's playing good, and then he's not ready to go. So we have to train those guys to play. We have to train them ready to go for Sundays.
What are some of the factors that can affect, let's just talk about a kicker, going on a cross-country flight, maybe the time zones? It seems like that might be something that would affect.
I think it's like any other position. The time zone, sitting in a plane for 5 hours is a thing. But these guys are pros. That's what they do. That's, all the players, the guys who do, play 70, 80 snaps, I think it's a bigger issue for them.
This might be a kind of a off-the-wall question. Except for maybe Trevor or Josh Allen, does every guy on the roster kind of have a special team position penciled in behind his name? If you had to use special teams, does everybody have a spot that you might?
Yeah, there's a handful of guys.
How many guys are fully exempt?
Yeah, there's only a handful of those guys. But that's the good part of a good team. Is I have a bunch of guys, whether they're starter only playing one phase, which we have a couple of the guys. Dre, Rayshon, those are guys that contribute all the time. Chris Manhurst is another guy. Those guys contribute all the time, one phase at least, and they're begging to be on more. And then we have other guys. Evan Ingram, he's a backup emergency guy. I probably never put him out there, as you know, but he's a guy that has to practice it. He's out there with the twos, waiting for the op. Foyer's another one. Foyer's out there sits in every meeting, goes to, works with the twos. He's capable of a start on every phase, obviously, and would be arguably one of our best players, if not the best. But those guys are ready to go. They're emergency guys because the rosters are so small. A couple injuries, guess what, Foyer? You got to play guard on punt. So they have to at least know enough, and sat in those meetings and had a good feel for those.
How much time do you spend scouting like the other team's kicker as you get ready for a game? Do you go back and watch some of that and say, okay, well, if we're going to go after a kick, we got to alter it this week, or we know we got to get there fast because some guys get their kicks off quicker than others?
That's a big part of game planning. Are we game planning? What does the return look like? What's the hang time look like? What's the direction look like? Is it wide? Is it, all those things play a factor. What's the op time? Can you rush them? Maybe they have a fast operation. Maybe it's more of a return game. So those are all factors we play in. And then obviously, how does it match up against us? Well, what do we do? Are we a rush team? Are we a return team? So those are all factors in on what we do as far as our prep for the game. Yeah, so it's a big deal. So last week, facing potential two kickers, you got to have two plans of what you think is potential you're going to see. And, we had a good idea it was going to be Chase McLaughlin, but it wasn't a slam dunk. So that's a big part of, special teams of our prep.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it, Coach.
Awesome, anytime.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.